Hello, and welcome to Fresh Blood, a podcast about killing it after 40, where we prove that new blood does not necessarily equal young blood. Here to discuss what it takes to have continued success through life, I'll be your host, Jolie Downs. With over 20 years of executive recruiting experience, I've learned how much we can grow and be inspired by other people's stories. I'm excited to share that with you here on Fresh Blood. Today, we are speaking with Suze Lanier. Suze is an actress, singer, songwriter, cabaret performer, photographer, writer, director, and producer. She is best known for starring in the original horror film classic Wes Craven's The Hills Have Eyes, as well as her role as Bambi, John Travolta's girlfriend in the TV sitcom Welcome Back, Kotter. She has starred in many TV episodes, web series, and stage productions from New York to LA throughout the years. Suze is also the president of Magnolia Gold Records, where she is in the process of releasing her new EP record entitled Allergic to Texas. Her previous award-winning release, Swamp Cabaret, is available on iTunes. I'm really excited to learn more, Suze. Thank you for joining us on Fresh Blood. Please, could you tell us a little bit more about your story and your journey to getting to where you are today?
The journey's a long one. So I don't know that we have that much time, but I will tell you how I started. The acting bug hit me at the age of 13. And for some reason, I started doing plays in school. I had a wonderful school experience in Dallas, Texas. And they did put a lot of the emphasis on the arts, which I think
it's great.
Is sad that they don't have that now. No. Put as big of emphasis on it, but they did then. And so by the time I was 15, I already knew at 13 I was going to pursue a career in either advertising or show business or the entertainment business for sure. Mm-hmm. And by the time I was 15, I was a disc jockey in in Dallas in high school.
How did you get that job at 15?
They did a contest and they were looking for someone that was close to the radio station. Mm-hmm. And they wanted a teenager to dedicate songs to high school football games. Football is very big in Texas. And so I was a top drama student at the time, and my high school was near KBOX, so I became Little Miss K-Box. And so I was a actual professional paid DJ at 15.
That's amazing at 15. What experience.
Spinning tunes and talking on the radio. So I had no problems talking to people, and I would meet big stars that would come music stars that would come into Dallas and that would be interviewed on the radio and stuff like that. So
what did you learn from that time? Like, how did that bring value to your life moving forward?
Well, it taught me, I think, not to be too shy and that all things were possible. And these artists seemed most of them were also down to earth. I met Carol Burnett there. And she was just so down to earth and sweet and what do you want to do, dear? And she was young then. And I said, I want to go to New York and work on stage. And she said, let me give you some numbers. And she did. When
Wonderful.
I was 16. And by the time I was 17, I was ready to go to New York. And
that's amazing. So you went to New York at 17?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Tell me about that. That's a lot. That's the story that you hear. But what was it really besides the fantasy? I'm curious.
Well, I'm writing a book about it right now. It's
perfect.
Pretty dark. It was the late 60s and my parents did not want me to go. And I told them I wanted to. So they said no. And so I just got on an airplane. I had my own money and went. And,
wow.
So I didn't call them till in a couple of months, I turned 18. I could have done what I wanted anyway. So I called them and said, I'm in New York. I'm safe and I'm going to stay here. And I got a manager out of a newspaper right away and started auditioning for things like the original production of Hair and Broadway shows. He started getting me out right away as soon as I turned 18. And
that's amazing.
It was a journey. In New York, I lived on the Lower East Side. So I got a share of dark. It was a lot of drugs and hippie. The Black Panthers had just started, and it was a wonderful political time to be on the Lower East Side. And I met a lot of people down in the Village.
Only imagine. What was your takeaway from living in New York during that time?
Oh my God. It just made me aware of possibilities. It made me aware of the creative force. I got to see Nina Simone at the Village Gate and BB King, and I became friends with BB King, and
gives me
it opened up this huge world of opportunity, and just it gave me courage to go ahead and pursue whatever I wanted,
That's fantastic. And to have that at such a young age, that is a gift. You clearly have been going after your dreams throughout your life ever since then. And that's,
I think,
amazing.
Creation in anything you do, even if you're a scientist, I think the universe gives us these urges of creativity. Some people have it much stronger than others. And there's this force inside of me that has to be creating something. Not be acting, photography, but I have to be creating something almost every day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I know since then you started in New York at a young age, and really since then you have been active in this field throughout your lifetime, correct? And even like you said, with photography, even when you were doing something, I read that you were actually listed as one of the top 10 photographers in LA at one point. So that's
for a while, it was top 5.
That's amazing. So tell us a little bit more what your transition, because you've also been a singer-songwriter, you've been a photographer, you've been a producer. How did those come into your life?
Well, photography came into my life, and I think all of them did, out of love and joy and necessity, and the necessary transition to have to survive in show business. I love the fact that your show is geared towards 40, the transition that happens at 40, and how challenging life can be. I started shooting around that age because my acting career had slowed down for many different reasons, created mostly by me. And I had fallen in love with a wonderful composer who ended up being my husband, Delaney Bramlett. So he was a songwriter. So I had always loved music, always sang, danced. He would need help on lyrics, or he would ask me if I wanted to help him with a song. So that fell into place from my husband. But besides that, just the need to keep myself thriving. I have a son, and to keep going when the acting slowed down, it's been a passage of survivorship too. Not only passion and love, which drove all of those pursuits, but the need to survive.
What I love is that we all go through that need to survive. We're all, okay, there's some people in life that maybe have it a little bit easier, but the majority of us have that need to survive at some point. What I love is that even though in that time of needing to survive, you went after your joys and passions. You went after things that you wanted to help you survive instead of accepting the have to, which so many of us will do because of fear. And there's so much fear, really, and uncertainty. And so you take what you think you have to. But I love that you went for the want to. Is there any advice that you would give someone who might be in that type of position of trying to figure out the right next path, the right next opportunity? Is there something that you've learned that you think could benefit?
What I've learned is that art does not, and a career does not get created by waiting for it to happen. You have to put in a lot of work, hard time and hard work to make it really happen. I hear a lot. I've gone back to Zoom created the need for me to do something else too. And I started teaching. I used to teach acting in LA sometimes. And so this girl asked me if I'd teach her, and I started doing some privates with her. And then all of a sudden I have a class, and the students are from other parts of the United States because they don't have to be in LA. So I'm able to give them some really great working, practical on-set lessons on Zoom, which I find is a great way to teach acting. And but I hear a lot of people saying the business has changed. You have to be born into it. You have to be, I heard this yesterday, Gwyneth Paltrow and have famous parents or somebody.
Mm.
And I go, no, today, I think there are more opportunities to create a product and create a project cheaply, and not, you don't have to depend on somebody giving you the green light to go act or make music or write a book. You can self-publish. You can make your own webisode. You can do that on an iPhone. Before, that was completely off the table. You had to wait for an agent to pitch you for a show. So now it's a matter of, and now we have all these avenues for exposure. Social media has created celebrities out of people with zero talent.
Yeah.
Zero talent.
Yes.
Zero substance as people, quite frankly. And yet it's made them famous and ridiculously rich. I think that anybody who sits around and complains about life not being fair or them not having the opportunities that we had in the 70s, I hear that a lot. It was easier in the 70s. No, it was not. It was harder.
Yeah.
If I had that little body I had in the 70s, I would have splashed it just like Kim Kardashian did.
Yeah, it is a different world. And you're right, there are so many more opportunities. I'm so glad that you're removing those limiting beliefs from the students that you're working with, because that is the biggest problem, are those beliefs that we hold on to that hold us back.
Hold us back. You can go in a parking lot. I told one of my students that I don't have any footage. I said, you can go in a parking lot and get your wife to take your iPhone and shoot a scene and just put it on your profile. These things, and who knows, it might, somebody might like it. If you don't put it out there, then, and you don't have the guts to put it out there, then nothing will happen.
No, nothing will happen. You're absolutely right. So out of all the things that you've done throughout your life, what do you feel has been your greatest success, and why? And what did you learn from it?
Okay, I'm most known for my acting work. So that's been acknowledged more than anything else. I've probably made the most money in photography. I used to shoot with Marcus, and I shot in Paris and New York and everywhere.
Amazing.
And that's been a very lucrative thing for me. But what gives me the most joy is the music. And I love to write songs. I'm probably not the greatest singer in the world, but to sit down at that piano and let a tune come out of me that is triggered by what I'm feeling gives me the most joy. So that is so accessible. I can do it anytime. I don't have to wait for a photo client to call and say, could we shoot? I don't have to wait for a casting director to say, yes, you got the job. I can simply go in my studio, put my hands on those keys, and let it come out. And so that when I'm down, or I'm even happy, that brings me the most joy.
Oh, so good. That's what we all need. That's my wish for people, that we all find something just like that fills you up, that you can do anytime you want to, and no one can take it away from you. It's just all yours. That's beautiful. Thank you for that answer. It's beautiful. And you're being able to create that music and share it with the world. That is,
it's not for everybody, but I've gotten great reviews on Swamp Cabaret. It's a little cabaret-ish, a little rockish. It's not rap. It's not everybody's cup of tea. And I understand that. I'm reading a fabulous book called Big Magic by Elizabeth Gilbert, who wrote Love, Pray, whatever.
Yes. I haven't read her new one. Okay.
Big Magic. I'm reading it because it was recommended for me to read it by Brian Danley, who's a wonderful director and writer in Hollywood. And I'm working on a new book. I'm not a proven writer. I'm a songwriter. I'm not a proven literary writer. And I'm writing a memoir, a very dark one. And it's a lot of fun. And just reading her book, Big Magic, has changed my whole approach to how I approach this project, and not with dread, oh God, I've got to pay the bills, I've got to go look for a new car, I've got to go meet so and so for lunch, but to make sure I set aside that time to let the love of writing it and let it love me back.
Mm.
Am I the greatest literary writer? I am sure I am not, but I am a good storyteller.
That's great. Big magic. I'm going to get that. Are there any other books or talks, videos, movie that you've watched or read that had a really big impact on your life that you think other people?
A lot. I have not literally, the truth is, joined the masterclass series of all these people that you can actually study with. But during COVID, some of my friends did, and they cannot talk enough about how inspired or how much they learned from actually doing the series of lessons by James Patterson or proven writers that have been very successful. And I think they share their habits and their information. So I would highly recommend that. And I'm planning to do that.
I actually just signed up for Masterclass myself. I haven't used it yet, but I just signed up.
Yes.
That's a good time.
I hate the fact that we had a pandemic. I hate the fact that we were in lockdown. We could be again. I really despise that. But with what came, the lemonade of it is that we have learned to communicate and talk to people that we don't have to be in the room with. And I love having a student in San Francisco. I love having a student in San Diego. And we get a lot done. And to watch them grow from studying on Zoom has been amazing. I got a big, huge monitor so I can watch them work so that they're almost as big as if they were in the room. You know? And
it definitely has opened up our world, hasn't it? It's expanded our world. We had to. So we expanded from our homes.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
And I think to put the love into your home too, even if I don't have a big fancy home, but I always make sure that I love to be in my workspace, that it gives me joy to be in that space.
That's something that I really focused on in the pandemic as well. I admit that my workspace might have been a little messy. But COVID gave me the chance to really clean that up, and feng shui it dialed in. And I got to say, it feels amazing.
It does.
It feels very good. Yeah.
I think it just helps you get in the zone to create.
Yes. Now, what about the flip side of the successes? What about a time that you had a failure or perceived failure or dealt with a really big obstacle and a big mistake? And what did you learn from it?
I've had many failures. I've been rejected so many times on things I really wanted. And as most people know, I was the first, I was the one who did the pilot of Three's Company. And
Three's Company is big.
I was Chrissy. I was the first one. And for many political reasons, which we don't need to go into, I was out and Suzanne Summers was in. And I thought she was wonderful, by the way. But for some reason, I was rejected. And that was a bit of a blow. And shortly thereafter, I got a wonderful play to go on tour with some amazing Donald O'Connor and amazing actors. And I got a lot of joy from that. And I would not have had that opportunity. Also, I would not have met Delaney Bramlett, my future husband.
Really?
Been on Three's Company, more than likely. I would not have met him. Probably would not have done The Hills Have Eyes, which that's how I met him. He had gone to the drive-in and saw The Hills Have Eyes. And I went to his gig the night after he had seen it. I had a friend that was playing in his band, and he came down off the stage and went, "Oh my God, you're such a great screamer. I'm going to marry you." And I went, "Well, I have a boyfriend." He said, "I don't care. Give me." It turned out that I met the love of my life through doing The Hills Have Eyes. And I wouldn't have had that opportunity if I'd been shooting Three's Company. So everything happens for a reason. Also, no such thing as perfection. Perfect. Everything can always be adjusted, changed. You can do it a better way or not. And I learned to let go of striving for perfection. I love to release music, and I am so clear that I am not Bonnie Raitt. So clear on that. But the fun I get from doing it and letting go of trying to make it perfect and to have a perfect Nina Simone voice, I had to let that go or I would have robbed myself of the joy of doing it. So rejection is always going to happen. Is everybody going to like my music? No. Is everybody going to like my book? No. Is everybody going to like my acting? No. And that's okay.
That's okay. I love it. This is right on every single count. I want to give you a little applause.
Thank you.
Yeah. Now, so I'm curious, what do you feel is your definition of success? Because everyone has their own definition. And based on that, what do you believe is key to having continued success throughout life?
This is a wonderful question. I just went to the East Coast, my girlfriend's private jet, and we just went everywhere. We just did the whole East Coast, and I just got back a week ago.
Amazing.
And she has these wonderful, she's one of my best friends. She has these wonderful homes in different places. And I came back with the appreciation of the simplicity of my own life, which clears my space to create. And so my idea, my goal of what success means has never been money or fame. Otherwise, I would have done things much differently. Mm-hmm. But I enjoy having a peaceful and as less stress as possible existence. To me, to be able to survive without going to work a day job and be at peace within is success.
Yeah. Yes, I completely agree.
Now, a lot of people think it's money and fame and huge mansions. I've had a big house. I've had several. The upkeep, coordinating all the workers and the gardener and the pool man and this and that. None of that is meaningful to me anymore. Yeah. None.
No. Yeah. I love your definition of success. And what do you believe is key to having continued success in life, continuing that throughout your life, into your 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s?
And higher. I think that appreciating that you woke up in the morning, when you get to be my age, and I see some of my artist friends either declining or they're not here any longer. One of my best friends just passed away, who was,
I'm sorry,
younger than me quite a bit. Mm-hmm. And I think that we're here for a certain amount of time. And I think that each day is a real gift. So when I wake up in the morning, I go, okay, I'm here today. And I'm just going to enjoy today to the utmost. And then appreciate that and get done as much as I can. I get angry with myself if I waste time on Facebook or scrolling, and I can be easily distracted. I can be entertained with that. And I've had to really discipline myself to say, my goal is not to be a Facebook scroller or a YouTube scroller. My goal is to produce work, and I don't want to waste precious time that I have left.
And I feel you on that.
Good health. I don't take any medicine, knock on wood, and I don't take that for granted, by the way. And I try to work out every day. I try to eat right every day, and then just enjoy the day and enjoy the work. But I only have today.
Yes.
That's all
I love that. We only have the day. You're absolutely right. There's no past, there's no future, there's only the present. And to truly be happy, it's about finding that joy in the present, which you're talking about some beliefs and habits that really have served you. Are there any other habits or beliefs that you developed over the years that you feel help bring that success into your?
I think feeling like trusting my instincts about who is a good influence, who will bring positive energy into my life, and trusting my instincts about who won't do that, and not wasting my time with people that will only serve me with negative energy. But also knowing that every single person you meet has a story, And every single person you meet has some capacity to teach you something.
Right.
So I really try to get into people's stories. Sometimes they're not very interesting to me because I've lived a very active, rich life. I've met the greatest artists in the world. I've worked with Tennessee Williams. I've known Leon Russell, Eric Clapton, Ringo Starr, all of them. Paul McCartney. I didn't meet John Lennon. Richard Chamberlain. I starred in a play with him. Leslie Jordan, the guy who's taking the internet by storm right now.
Yeah.
I've done 3 plays with Leslie Jordan. But even my housekeeper, which I had before COVID, I haven't had one since. So I do, but has a story, and that story, it can enrich my life or trigger something in me or not. Your server at your local place at lunch has a story, and it's important that they see that you can hear their story, that you're a vessel for them to share their story, because their story is important.
It's one of my favorite things, uncovering people's stories. There's so much wealth in people's stories.
Yeah.
It's wonderful. You've met a lot of people in your life, a lot of really amazingly these great minds that you've been able to meet. I'm just curious if, out of all the people you've met, if anyone has provided you with a piece of advice that you have carried with you ever since.
Raymond Massey, Tennessee Williams. When I did Night of the Iguana, Raymond Massey wrote me, the great actor Raymond Massey, who I know young people probably don't know who he is, but he was one of the greatest actors of our day. And he wrote me a letter. He saw me on TV and he said, "Don't ever stop doing what you love." And that was a great piece of advice. I've gotten advice from a lot of great artists that are famous and powerful people. And I think to be encouraged by someone who's that great, to be encouraged by Tennessee Williams, that's a big deal. And I've been encouraged by all those people to just follow the dream.
It shows how important that is to give encouragement to other people. It is very impactful.
I do with all my students. I really make them aware of their strong points and to embrace those. And if they have any bad habits, I don't hold back. I just say, okay, you need to watch out for this because it might not be marketable. Yeah. Because we all, at the end of the day, the goal for these students is to make a living in the arts or as actors. So if I'm not pretty open and honest with them about how to hone the craft, then I'm not doing my job.
Now, I'm curious because we were going through difficult times with the pandemic. And I know there's a lot of people, even though we're slowly coming out of it, there's a lot of people that are in struggles, various different kinds of struggles because of what we've been through. How have you pushed through your worst times that has helped you and could maybe resonate with other people?
Okay. When the pandemic first started, first of all, I was in St. Louis doing a play with Cleo King and for Black History Month. And it was a wonderful project and we had to cut it short and come back to LA. And I was just bummed. I just went, what is going on? Nothing like this has ever happened in my long lifetime. And how is that going to affect everybody? And once I resigned, I gave resignation to it. I went, okay, I have to accept this. Now what, because I didn't create it, I can't change it. It's here.
Yeah.
And I have a feeling the change I have a feeling it's not going to go away as quickly as we all pray it does. Hopefully find a medicine for treatment. But one of my students was diagnosed with COVID yesterday.
Oh no.
And she's a mother and I'm sure she'll be fine. She'll be fine.
Yeah.
But I think just giving into the fact that the way I knew life before, if I'm going to fight it, I'm going to be miserable and totally depressed. So I have to find how I can make it work for me where I'm at now. And believe me, every day I'm grateful that I am in the generation that I grew up in because it was fun and possibilities were all open and I had a lot of fun and I still have fun every day. I have fun. But I'm really grateful that I got the time frame as me here in this earth suit. I'm so grateful that I got the time I got. 60s and the 70s and the 80s, 90s. Good times. And I don't plan to give them up. I mean,
Yeah, I love it. I'm curious, is there any story that sticks out from the 60s, 70s, kind of back in the past that rise to the surface if someone were to say, what's your craziest story?
Oh my God. I think meeting my husband was probably the craziest story and the most universal kismet. How did he see the Hills Have Eyes at a drive-in the night before I went to his gig reluctantly, by the way, screaming. I didn't want to go. And my girlfriend was married to his trumpet player. And she said, "You're no fun anymore. All you care about is work." And she said, "Come on, let's go hear Delaney Bramlett." And I went, I'm tired. I don't know. I don't think so. And she said, "Come on, just one set, then we'll come back." And I went, okay. Mid-20s at that time. So I went, all right, I'll go. And so we go to the nightclub, and then I meet the man that I actually fall in love with. And I think the universe, if you just say yes, more than if you say no, if you say yes, great things can happen. And maybe you'll be bored, but at least you tried. Yeah. I think if I was going to pick one story, that would be it, though there have been many. I was a series regular on Tony Orlando and Dawn doing stand-up comedy with George Carlin. He taught me a lot. George Carlin. We had
what George taught you. I love George Carlin.
Crazy. And back then I was confident. I was so confident and cocky. And so is he. So we had some major little riffs, but we also had so much fun doing comedy together and to learn from somebody so gifted. He was that jaded, negative, critical, brilliant mind, even when I knew him.
Yeah.
In 1976, I think it was, or something, is when I worked with him. And I'm so blessed to have worked with people like that.
Yes. Oh, that's amazing. Did he drop any truth bombs on you during that time?
We both were offered another show that ended up still on the air. And
what show?
Saturday Night Live.
Oh.
And we were getting nice paychecks at CBS on the Tony Orlando and Dawn, and it didn't last more than a season, but we didn't know that it would end. And he said, "Nah, let's stick with where we're at," because we had been recognized for doing skits together, and so we both turned it down.
Oh,
I just take it. Whatever decisions I make, I have to own them. And have to make the most of them and just move on to the next thing.
And I truly believe what you said. The universe, things are happening, and they're happening for a reason, and you can't always see it. And when things like that happen and you say no, and then maybe the season's canceled and, oh, why did I make that mistake? And in that moment, you feel like, oh, that was a big mistake. But like you said, as you move on through life, you see exactly why that happened and where you went and why you went there. And it all seems to line up once you start looking backwards. But in the moment, it's not always easy to see.
We would have both been sued because we were under contract at CBS. So
that's not good.
I mean, there's that.
No, can't do that. That makes the decision easy.
that made it a little easier.
Yeah. Done and done. Yeah. So I'm curious, have you ever experienced or witnessed ageism in the workplace in your industry and in your world?
Oh my God, yes. What's weird is that I think I'm experiencing ageism even as an acting teacher.
Really?
Because I think that it's easy to look me up. And so do you really think that I can't teach you like somebody who doesn't have nearly the experience I have? I actually studied with Uta Hagen. I was at Sanford Meisner's last birthday party in 1992, and I sat with him. I have attended the Actors Studio. I was friends with Susan Strasberg, Lee Strasberg's daughter, and I have worked with great artists. Some of these people just go, I studied with somebody who studied with Uta Hagen. I studied with Uta Hagen. I can tell you I can teach you, but I'm not young, hip, cute, and the it girl right now, it teacher right now. I don't advertise, by the way. You have to call me and we'll talk about it, but I just don't want to work that hard. So I don't want to teach more than once a week. I've experienced ageism ageism as even a teacher. I've experienced ageism as a photographer. I
Oh,
haven't lost my talents for any of this. And I certainly have experienced ageism with acting. I find music is more accepting than any of it. And I
mhm.
just got invited to go sing with Ladies of the Blues in Orlando. And
Ooh.
I said, yes, I would do that in October because in blues, you can be 400 years old and
Mhm.
still do your thing.
That voice, yes.
And the voice can even go a little bit. You can just, the music is, as if you're not 50, if you're 30 and want to be a rock star and you haven't made it by 30, I'm going to tell you it's probably too late. Wait until you're 60 and then bring out that guitar and start again because that, yeah,
It's a whole new genre that you've got there.
whole new genre. Yeah. Because, yeah, in my age bracket, my manager said, you're not gray and they know how old you are. And I said, yeah, and I'm not going to be gray. I don't care if I act or not. I can put on a wig, for God's sake. I've got to look at this face. you
Yeah,
know,
yeah,
got to look at me. And I want to not cringe every time I do.
yeah.
I am what I am. But
How have you overcome this ageism though? Like, how do you overcome that when you're faced with it?
I do have to make it okay that some of my friends that are my age and they're working a lot and they have let themselves age that without having the same concerns I do. They just
Mhm.
want to work.
Yeah.
So they will, and so I have to make that okay with me that I've made the decision that I don't want to do that and put
Mhm.
my energy in writing and other things and shift from what the industry considers
Mhm.
anywhere from 55 to 75. They are looking for old lady looking people for the most part, unless you're Jane Fonda. And they'll let her be cute, but your normal judge or lawyer, they want somebody that looks worn out. And so, sometimes I do look worn out, but I don't have to.
Yeah. Well,
So
and that just it furthers that belief that of like when you get older, you look worn out, which just is not the truth. Look at you. This is not the truth, okay? We can look amazing at any age when, of course you have to work at it a little bit. So
you do
you
have
got
to work
to
on it.
work at it.
Okay, let me tell you, even if I'm writing and I'm not going to see one other person for the whole day, and I know that I'm not going to see a gardener, I'm not going to see anybody. I get up, I put myself together just to go because it makes me feel good about myself.
Mhm.
I'm not even going to go to the grocery store. I still do it because I have to look at it and I want to feel better. It makes
Mhm.
me feel a little bit better.
Mhm.
For as long as I'm here, I think I picked that up from my grandmother. She always was together, you know.
Yeah, I,
My
I
mother
do the
was.
same. I picked it up from my mother, but I actually do because I've been working from home for over a decade. So there were many days where maybe I wasn't seeing someone except for my children, but I would continue to put myself together because what I noticed was the days when I didn't, I just I felt worse. I didn't feel as good. But the process of doing it just made me feel good internally, which made me act better externally. So yeah,
I
I
write
think.
better. I just feel better overall. It makes me feel healthier. It makes me feel a little more vital
Yeah.
or gives me a little energy boost. I don't know. That's my thing. My friends go, "You're nuts. Why would you do that?" And so not everybody thinks that way.
It's to each their own, and not everyone needs that. But I know I've just learned for myself that it definitely helps make me feel better internally overall. So, and now, out of everything that you have learned throughout all of your experiences, what do you feel has brought the most benefit to your life?
Believing that the universe knows better than I do, and that universe could be God, and that could be whatever you believe, is my higher power. And that I have trusted my higher power to make major decisions about whatever's in front of me. to say yes or no to. But I figure if it's in front of me, I better say yes. So, because it's been put in front of me.
Yeah.
And I think my higher power, or the universe, which is all the same to me, which is God, has given me a sense of survivorship in life, not just the arts, but in life, to listen to my instincts. Mm-hmm. That's a gift that I think that we all are given when we're born.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Not everyone's listening. We push it down too much. Mm-hmm.
We're all born with a sense of right and wrong and love. And somewhere along the line, we tend to lose the gift that we were given as human beings, every human being, equally on the earth.
Is there a way that you feel people can help get more in touch with that? Is there anything that you've done that helps you get more in touch with your own intuition?
I do this standard things like do a little meditation. I do enjoy working out. So all of that puts in positive energy into my body. I had a wonderful surprise when I did 23andMe, and I discovered family members that were very close family members. We are descendants of slaves, and my great grandmother was a slave. And so I've had it's opened up a whole new world to me at this late age to find out that I am part African American. And so looking at me, you would go, that's no, but yes, that's, and I'm fallen in love with that part of my family members, particularly one cousin, and we do a lot of stuff together. And we're planning a trip right now. And,
I love that.
So that's been a weird thing that happened to me late in life. I wish I had known it earlier. And so I have, and then as not because of that, because of some marriages and with my nephew and stuff, people are mixing. And I look forward to a world where, and I may not see it in my lifetime, but I really look forward to a world where we just look at people as people. Oh, that's a person, not in a conscious state, making a judgment on who color that person is or what religion that person is, that we're all in it together. And if we don't get there, the hippies were trying to do that in the 60s. Peace, love, and happiness. Yes. But if we don't get there, we're going to be in serious trouble.
I agree. That was perfect. Now, before we get going, if our listeners want to learn a little bit more about you, or let's say an actor might be listening and they want to learn more about your services, is there any website that they should go to? And also to find out about your music as well. Could you tell us where people should go?
So Swamp Cabaret and soon Allergic to Texas will both be available for purchase on iTunes under my music name, Suze Lanier Bramlett, SUZELANIER Bramlett, BRAMLETT. And then my manager just recently made me change my acting name back to Susan Lanier. So all my acting credits and my IMDb are under Susan Lanier. And it's all interconnected anyway. It's not hard to figure out. And if you are interested in any of my services, photography, teaching, whatever, or want to talk to me, please DM me on Facebook, under Instagram, under Susan Lanier Actor on Instagram, or Suze Lanier Bramlett on Facebook. I know that seems confusing. I have two names, but you'll find me.
Perfect. And we'll add any links to the show notes too, to make it easier for people as well. Okay. So cool. We'll include that. Yeah. But this has been great. Before we go, I want to ask you my final question, which is I just love to hear what people answer. What are you sure of in life?
I'm sure that looking back, life is short. You better make the most of it. Don't waste a minute.
That just gave me little tingles. Don't waste a minute. Thank you so much, Suze. This has been absolutely wonderful.
I've had such a good time. Thank you for having me as your guest today.
Thank you.
I know if we were in the same town, we'd be hanging.
Oh. Suze and I would definitely be hanging if we were in the same town. I loved her energy and her story. At the age of 15, Suze won a contest to do dedications on the radio. This work on the radio led to meeting amazing artists such as Carol Burnett, artists that Suze soon learned were people, down-to-earth human beings who were kind, offering advice and support. What an amazing lesson to learn early in life, that we are all people. These stars are not superhumans. They are just like you and me, and anything can be accessible if you reach for it. Suze received this amazing gift of a lesson because she had the bravery to try. How many things have you considered doing, whether they be contests, classes, groups, that you ended up not moving forward with for whatever reason you may have told yourself, but really because there was fear, or there was uncertainty, or there was uncomfortableness? We all have so much fear that we carry around inside of ourselves. And most of the population is dealing with imposter syndrome, our own minds telling us we are not good enough. Or we simply allow ourselves to naturally gravitate to that which is familiar because we have not gotten comfortable with experiencing the unfamiliar. What opportunities in life have been missed because you did not take the chance? I wonder what road Suze would have taken had she not had the courage to simply try at the contest. I know her story is a reminder to me that anything that piques my interest, always give it a try. As Suze advised, if you just say yes, great things can happen. Moving to New York alone at the age of 17 was another bold move. Suze took control of her life and going after what she wanted. Her experiences during that time made her aware of the possibilities and aware of the creative force in the universe, which has given her courage to continuously pursue her dreams throughout life, whether that has been acting, photography, or creating music. Suze learned something important during this time from the people she met. A career does not get created by waiting for it to happen. You must be proactive and put in the work to make things happen. Whether internally with a company or externally for yourself, it is your actions that will create your reality. The good news is we have more opportunity available now than ever before. As Suze pointed out, today there are more opportunities to create products and projects cheaply. You do not have to wait for someone to give you the green light. You just have to give yourself the green light. There are people out there with expertise to help you accomplish whatever it is you want to accomplish, whether that's building a new business or creating a new app or selling your art or putting out your music or video skits. People are out there and the options are endless. Suze also shared excellent life advice. It is imperative to find something that brings you joy. For Suze, finding those things that brought her joy, the things that are accessible and cannot be taken away by anyone, has brought her the greatest feeling of success. She can bring joy into her life anytime she wants. When she needs it because she's sad, or when she feels it because she's happy. Every single day, she has the power to infuse her world with joy. Are you doing the same? If not, ask yourself, why not? Figure that out and then make a promise to yourself that you will find the time and the accessible activity that will bring joy to your life each day. You deserve nothing less. If you don't know what brings you joy, then you get the pleasure of finding out. What a fun experience. Go out and try a lot of different things and find something that appeals to you. You can find local classes, there's local groups, or even online classes and online groups like Meetup. Or you can sign up for an online education platform like Masterclass or Udemy, Coursera, LinkedIn Learning, or so many more. The opportunities for finding your joy are endless. I absolutely loved Suze's story about meeting her husband, Delaney Bramlett. She went to one of his shows and he spotted her in the crowd having watched a movie that she starred in, The Hills Have Eyes, the night before. Delaney pursued Suze after that night, becoming the love of her life. This is one of the great highlights in Suze's story, this beautiful story of love. And none of it would have been possible had she not experienced a massive disappointment when she was cut from her role as Chrissy in Three's Company. I am sure this was a difficult experience for Suze. It would have been for anyone. It can cause all kinds of negative feelings to surface and float around, and I'm sure Suze felt her share during that time. But had she not been cut from Three's Company, she never would have made the movie The Hills Have Eyes, and she never would have met her husband, the man who starred in her own personal love story. I have found this to be a common thread in our stories, that our lowest times often lead into our greatest. That bad things that happen, they often lead into good. I do believe things happen for a reason, not always one you can see or understand, and I've had many moments like that myself. But the universe is continuously nudging us in the right direction, and it is our responsibility to keep our eyes open and continue looking around. If you are dealing with a difficult situation, I ask you to keep Suze's story in mind and see if you can lessen the mourning of what was and what could have been, and start putting your focus towards what could be in your future moving forward. I also loved Suze's advice about letting go of striving for perfection. There is no such thing as perfection. Every time I think of perfection, I think of this sentence: perfection is the enemy of progress. And this is the truth. As Suze shared, trying to make things perfect robbed her of the joy of the experience. But once she was able to let go, the joy came flooding back in. She realized it is okay not to be perfect. It is okay for someone to not like what she is doing. The only important thing is that Suze herself is enjoying what she is doing. This is why the saying, "dance like nobody is watching," is so popular, because you must dance like nobody is watching. Theoretically, you must live your life as if no one is watching, as if there is no judgment. If you don't, you will end up at the end of your life having realized that you too often stood on the sidelines and watched while others were truly living. you will have missed out on so much of the true joy of fully living and thriving in the skin you currently inhabit. I promise you, that feeling of regret will be much worse than any kind of fear you have at the moment about putting yourself out there. Let go of perfection. Let go of others' perception and go out and do what you want to do. This is how Suze has been living her life, and it has led her to multiple successful careers doing the things she loves to do. I will leave you with a final piece of Suze's advice that I urge us all to take. Every day, begin the morning with appreciation that you are alive in this day. See the day as a gift, the only gift you know you have for sure in this moment, and decide that you will meet the day with joy, creation, and kindness. Do not waste your time scrolling through social media and watching what everyone else is doing or saying, or worrying about what everyone else is doing or saying. Instead, focus on what you can do and what you can say, what you can bring to this day to make it the very best day for you and everyone around you. Life is short, and there is no promised time, but we do have today. So that is my wish for us all, that you make the most of each gift of a day that you have been given while infusing your personal world with peace, love, and happiness. Until next time. Thank you for joining us on Fresh Blood. Please subscribe and follow us on all streaming services, including Apple Podcasts, Amazon, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and Player FM. You can also follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Fresh Blood Podcast. I would love your help in spreading these stories and important messages. Please give us a like and share with a friend. Your help is greatly appreciated. I hope you make today a most fulfilling day.